Hello, and welcome to Sidelines with Morphew, another edition of the 2026 Look Back. We're here with Duncan Athletic Director Kevin Kelly. How are you today, man?
Doing good.
Good, good. So let's jump into talking about last school year. Obviously, the fall sports start you off. You've got football going, you had softball, you had cross country. Just tell me about football first, because I know that's program obviously had a really good success this first year or this year, and Coach Cherry has done a really good job with that program.
Coach Terry's done a great job. We just come off a year where we made the playoffs. We had to play Carl Albert in the playoffs, which we played Carl Albert better than any team did
Yeah,
last year in the playoffs. Played them closer. Second half we actually played them really well. So we got some momentum there. We did graduate a big senior class, with some athletic kids, but we have a good nucleus of kids returning. And I think we're going to shock people with how competitive we're going to be this coming year.
definitely. And let's talk about softball. They got to the state championship game this year. Obviously, that's a huge success. Any program would love to be in the state championship game. Now, the result wasn't what they wanted, but obviously, just talk about that softball program because I feel like it's a good program.
Coach Miller has our softball program. I mean, they're rocking.
Yeah,
They are. They're rocking. Um, we graduated 3 All-State players, from last year's team, but we have some great players coming up, that have been in the program, and I feel like we're going to be in the state tournament again, and have a chance, at the end to do some great things.
well, let's talk about cross country to end up with the fall sports. Obviously, cross country has a veteran coaching, and that helps out. And just talk
Mm-hmm.
about that and how that helps that program.
It's great. I mean, having some veteran coaches, in cross country. I mean, the kids know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a system that it's proven. It's because our cross country kids, we had a top 5 cross country kid last year. And overall team wise, I think we were top 10.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very beneficial coming in. The kids know what to expect, know that what they do works. So that's pretty exciting.
Well, let's transition into the winter sports. Obviously the winter sports, you've got wrestling, you've got basketball and swim. So let's talk a little bit about the probably one of your favorite programs, the wrestling program, because you were the head coach there for a little bit, and your
Mm-hmm.
son's part of the coaching staff this last year. So let's talk about the wrestling program and just kind of transition into that program.
Okay. Um, and again, wrestling program's in a good place. We did lose a couple of seniors, that's won a lot of matches for us. But overall, I mean, we're gonna be solid again. We're gonna be. I think we'll probably be a top 5 team. We've got Bryson Burton, coming back this coming year. He'll be kind of the leader, of the team. He'll have a chance to be to have a shot of winning the gold, when it counts this year. So, and we got a couple of kids coming in that are going to be freshmen that'll be added to the lineup. That's going to help also. So we'll be very competitive in the wrestling program.
And let's talk about the girls wrestling program because I know that's a relatively new program, but I mean, I feel like that has a lot of junior high kids that are coming up soon, and that will help make the program what it is.
We do. Our middle school girls were really competitive this year, and there's a lot of them. And the secret to that's keeping those girls out, and they keep getting better. They're going to be pretty solid
Yeah.
when they get to high school.
Definitely. So let's transition to basketball. Obviously, the girls' program, had a little bit of change at the beginning of the season with Coach Lard taking over, and it just I feel like they improved, and that was the big key going into this season.
Oh, they improved tremendously from the start of basketball season this last year to the end. It was phenomenal how much better that those girls got, because at the first, we struggled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we struggled to score
Yeah.
at all. But the girls, they kept getting better and better. We won a couple of games late, and we got a chance to win some games this year. With our girls, and they're a year older. We got a good eighth grade class that are going to be freshmen. That a couple of those girls will plug them in. They're going to help. I mean, they're an athletic group. Coach Large done a fantastic job. She did a fantastic job with them this last year. With I mean, just setting expectations. And working on the fundamentals and doing what's necessary to get better.
And let's transition to the boys program. Obviously, Coach Knox has been there for a couple of years, and this year was one of the best years for the boys basketball program in several years. So, just tell me about how Coach Knox is integrating into the program and making it what it needs to be in 5A.
Well, the consistency,
Yeah.
is huge. What he does every day in, day out. He expects a lot out of those kids. I mean, they have great practice habits. Coach Knox is very, very knowledgeable in basketball, and Coach Morris that helps him out.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Morris was a standout basketball player at Duncan,
Yeah.
and played in college for a couple of years. So those guys know basketball, and the kids are they're buying in, now, and we've got some athletes that we can put on the court, to really compete. And again, we got a freshman class coming in where we've got a couple of freshman kids that'll be in the lineup that'll really going to help us.
Obviously with the winter sports, swimming is the next sport that we're going to talk about. You guys had a new coach this year, and she obviously did a really good job this first year, because I noticed that they had a good state tournament or
Mhm.
state meet. So talk a little bit about that swim program.
Oh, Coach Speed, she did a tremendous job. It was her first year to coach.
Yeah.
She was a former college swimmer. I mean, she knows the ins and outs of swimming. She has swam her whole life. And her grandpa actually helped her. He was her assistant coach, and he's been coaching her since she was small. So I mean, he knows tons about swimming. So those kids got um, they got a real, I guess, eye opener, to this year about what it takes to be a good swimmer, to get their times down, all that. I went to several of their practices, and it was no nonsense. And those kids, they got after it.
Mm-hmm.
They did, and they got better every meet.
Yeah. Okay, so let's transition into the spring sports a little bit. Obviously, that's a busy season. It always is. You've got track, you've got golf, you've got soccer, you've got baseball. You almost have a game every week,
Mm-hmm.
or every day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk a little bit about track first. Obviously the boys team won their first state championship since 1994, and Coach Ledford even told me in the interview, he said that's the first meet we've won all year. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, that's a good first meet to win. So.
Oh yeah, Coach Ledford does a tremendous job. He does. He very, very knowledgeable in every aspect of track. And we had some kids that, of course, they've been running track, for several years. They were state runner up last year. Mm-hmm. And they were blessed with speed.
Yeah.
And we won the 4x1 and 4x2 this year, and finished third in the 4x4. So when you score all those points in the relays, it's hard to, I mean, you're gonna do really well.
Yeah.
You're gonna score a lot of points.
Definitely. Let's talk a little bit about soccer. Obviously, the girls program, got into the playoffs again. That seems like a reoccurring thing for that girls program. And Coach Sutherland feels like he's got that program rolling.
They are. They're doing really well. And again, we're putting some athletic girls out there, which really, really helps. And we just started our Summer Pride program this last week with girls, and Coach Sutherland's out there, with his girls, with his soccer girls, working on footwork, working on strength and speed and things like that. And it's paying off.
Definitely. And so the boys program, obviously they, were a young team this year, and just, they had some seniors. So just tell me a little bit about that boys program. Obviously they
have some good players overall, and I think they're going to be better this coming year. We did struggle at times to score, this year, and that's just some of it was our youth.
Yeah.
But they'll be better. Yeah, they're getting better.
And let's talk about that. the baseball program, obviously coming off of a state championship the year before, and we kind of mentioned it in the press box during the regional championship game. It's a good problem to have when a program says state tournament or bust.
Mm-hmm.
So just tell me a little bit about that baseball program. And
Coach Smith. I mean, he's one of the best there is.
mm-hmm.
I mean, he is. Our baseball program. He does things right. I mean, 100% of the time, those boys. If you've ever been to one of their practices, there's no standing around.
Mm-hmm.
They get after it. They know what's expected of them, and they have high expectations. And yeah, when we got beat in the regional final, and it was a letdown. It was a letdown because they were hoping to get back to the state tournament for sure. And of course, last season, having five players, go on and play college baseball, that's hard to replace.
Yeah.
In the lineup. So, but I was proud of the team. I mean, I thought they got better, all season. They did a great job.
Let's talk about the golf team. You mentioned obviously both teams state runner up. That golf program has been one of the more stable programs at Duncan because you have so many courses to choose from. You get to learn different things, and you've got a good coaching staff on both sides. So just tell me about the golf program finishing as state runners up and kind of finishing out the year.
Again, yeah, the boys and girls golf team, and again, it goes back to expectations. We finished runner up, and they were kind of let down. Because at one point our boys and girls were both leading the state tournament. After day one, they were both in the lead. We got a great group of kids. So the coaching staff's fantastic. They do things the right way, and we expect this this coming year. They're going to be right there again. Competing for the title again.
And I forgot one sport, so I'm going to spring one on you. Tennis. We got to mention tennis. We
forgot volleyball too.
We forgot volleyball too, so we'll go back to volleyball as well. These Duncan has the luxury of having so many sports that other county schools don't have. So let's start with tennis first, and then we'll go back to volleyball. But tennis, let's just talk a little bit about how they did this year.
Both teams did really well. The boys ended up finishing better than the girls did. The boys had several seniors that have been in the program, that they're really solid players. River Tate's going on to play in tennis in college. He was our one singles player. But both of our single players, were fantastic players, and our doubles teams were both. I was really, really impressed with our doubles. Our one doubles team, they've been really good, and we've won tons of matches over the last 3 years. I know of. So, but they're gonna our one singles and our one doubles team were all seniors, so we're gonna miss them, tremendously because they won a lot of matches for us.
Definitely. And so let's kind of go backtrack to volleyball. Obviously, Coach Jeffords was in her first season, but she's an alum of the program. So I feel like that's a huge asset to have for the program that has been really, really, going state tournaments several years, or with several, and going to that regionals so many years in a row. So just tell me about, having Coach Jeffords there and just kind of what that means for that program.
Oh, it's great. She does a fantastic job. She teaches at the middle school, which helps too because she gets to talk to those girls, get some of those girls out in middle school, which our middle school program's getting better and better and better, and that does nothing but help our high school program. And she works a lot of hours with girls. I see her up in the gym, sometimes at nighttime, just one-on-one with girls, giving them a lesson, things that the girls need to work on. They'll message her and say, well, hey, I'll meet you there in 30 minutes, and it's paid off. It is. They're going to be really good this year.
So let's kind of obviously transition into the new school year. Obviously, summer is a big time to work on summer prides. You mentioned summer pride. You mentioned that, we had 15 athletes from Duncan sign to go to college to run the class of 2026. So just tell me how that foundation will help going forward into this next school year.
Oh, just the tradition, now that's being established. We have kids that our younger kids see our older kids, some of our standout athletes signing and going on to play college, and they see those kids, the work that they put in year round, it's paying off. It is, because we've got, like this last year, I think 15 is the most that we've had signed in ever that I can remember.
Right.
So that it is, it's paying off. It's like the other day is our first day of girls summer pride, and we probably had 80 girls out there. I mean, they were lined up and they covered the entire width of the football field.
Right.
And then we had to divide them up into two groups because there was too many of them to fit in the weight room.
Yeah.
So it's a good problem to have. It is. We got some good things going on in Duncan athletics right now.
So obviously, one of the new things that's happening this next school year for you guys, and I saw a post that you guys have already installed them, but the shot clocks for basketball. Obviously, that's going to be a huge thing for the higher classes that are doing that this year. So just tell me, what that entailed for you guys.
It's going to be a big change. It will be, and I think not so much during the basketball game, because no team usually holds the ball 35 seconds, very much anyway. But at the end of the game, it's really going to affect the end of the game. Holding the basketball and just stalling it out. If you're just a few points ahead,
Yeah.
that's going to change. That's going to change some things. So Coach Knox and Coach Lard have already got some. I've already talked to them about the shot clock stuff, and um, they've got some drills that they're going to be implementing during practice. For like looking at the shot clock, and putting it like 8 seconds and then coming down, counting down and stuff. So they're already thinking about it and doing some things for that.
Definitely. Well, obviously, I want to say thank you for coming on, and if I could have you summarize the school year in maybe 2 to 3 sentences, or maybe just a short statement, what would you say about this past school year?
Um, that's a tough one. I would say overall our athletic programs have been they're on their way up. We've been very successful in nearly every program, and of course in 5A, uh, Carl Albert's kind of the standard.
Yeah.
That most schools are looking for, and right now it's Carl Albert. And you take all of our sports kind of combined overall. I think Duncan's just behind them, and we're catching them.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate your time.
You bet.